Hello, 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 all my beautiful fractals of starlight, my wonderful, wonderful listeners who decide to tune into the show every single week. Now, I'm overjoyed to be with you here again. I know, and I'm sure, as you can tell from the title of this video, or this podcast about what the subject matter is going to be, and I thought it was only time. It's Thanksgiving for the United States. Christmas time is coming up, so I only thought it would be appropriate to do some sort of podcast topic related to this. And you know what? We had some really amazing submissions on the Askreddit subreddit. But before we head into this podcast, my beautiful people, welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, where we read and react to comments from r/AskReddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcast, please leave us a rating, a beautiful rating, and also please leave us a review. It really, really helps the show get spread if y'all do that, and I appreciate each and every single one of you that goes ahead and does that. I don't know if I mentioned I'm your host. Yeah, I think I already said I'm your host, Luke Dick. But remember, if you want to reply to this topic that we're talking about, you can go over to my YouTube channel and comment under the most recent video, and I will read out your comment on the show in the following week. So, without further ado, why don't we read off last week's comment again from our boy Vortex? What is your toxic trait that you're proud of? Vortex says, flushing the toilet at 3 a.m. in the morning while everyone is trying to sleep. And I was just saying to Vortex, I was like, you got to keep everyone on their toes, man. What happens if there's a real intruder or a real reason to respond? You got to be alert and you got to be awake. That's one of the reasons why, I don't think I'm actually that deep of a sleeper. I don't think I really go into that deep of sleep. I'm pretty sure I can be woken up pretty easily. And I feel like that's always been like a consistent thing with me. But for the heavy sleepers out there, you got to practice. You got to practice getting up, because who knows, man? One of those times, it just might not be Vortex flushing the toilet in the middle of the night that you need to get up for. And so, yeah, that was the comment that we had from our last week's episode. So, again, you can see from the title, this week's episode is what ruined your Thanksgiving this year. Now, I was talking with my roommate the other day, and so we are Canadian. We are from Canada, so we don't celebrate the American Thanksgiving, but we were having a debate about this, and I think we were on the same page, but Thanksgiving makes more sense to be in October than November. Now, I know I've just riled up a lot of my American listeners. Is Thanksgiving a thing in the UK? I don't even know, because I feel like, isn't Thanksgiving supposed to be this holiday where it's like we were told it's like the settlers and the pioneers, it was like it was their time, to get together and celebrate I don't even know. I literally don't even know why Canadian Thanksgiving's on a different day. But I know in America it has something to do with pilgrims and people dressed in funny hats. But they are separated by a month. Our Thanksgiving takes place in mid-October, and your American Thanksgiving takes place in late November. But we were having this debate, okay? And it makes more sense that it's in October. And this is why. Because it's more evenly spaced in terms of the amount of holidays that you have. So why don't we start in January, right? In January, I don't know if Americans get this, but we get this in Canada where we have a break in February. So it's just a break. It's just kind of like a random little week-long break in February that pretty much everybody gets off. Like people in elementary school, high school get it off, and people in university get it off. It's one of those things that people just get off. And then we have Easter break, which comes in April, and then you have summer, right? So between that, you have February, and then you have March, and then you have April. You get another little break. And then you have the summer, so April, May, so June, July, and August. You get to have a nice summer, and you come back for September, and then you're Septembering it up in the fall time, and then you have just that month of September before you get October, and then you get another little Thanksgiving break. You meet with the family, and then you get November, and then Christmas in December. And the thing is like with Thanksgiving, especially with the American one, it's so close to Christmas. So you like see your family at the end of the month in November, and then like a month later you see them again. It's like, didn't we just hang out? Didn't we just see each other? Isn't this a little too recent? Whereas the Canadian one is a little more spaced out. So it's like, oh yeah, we saw each other like, almost 2 months ago now. Which to me, or actually more than 2 months ago, because it would be mid-October to mid-November, and then mid-November to mid-December. So you get a little 2-month break between seeing your family. And I know, especially based off of reading the comments in the subreddit, how interesting some people's families are, and that can be a contentious issue for some folks. So without further ado, why don't we just get right into the episode for today? So, what ruined your Thanksgiving this year? Alrighty, so the first one here comes from Glofa. Went to go pick up my grandma from her dementia care home today. As soon as I pulled in, she called and said that she wasn't feeling well. I ended up sitting with her for an hour catching up. When it got dark, I had to go. She begged me to stay and gave me some food. I wanted to cry. She was asking me all these things about my life that I couldn't give her answers to. I miss when she was a part of my life and not spending her last days isolated. Dementia sucks bad. It's horrible to have to go through. Yeah, so we're not necessarily starting out on the high point of everybody's Thanksgiving here, but I do have personal experience with dementia as well. My great grandmother suffered from dementia, and it is a weird experience seeing somebody you've known for your entire life sort of forget you and forget everything about you and all the memories that you had together. But I would like to say that there's a bright side in the fact that they're still around, and that a lot of people with dementia still are able to function. Like, she was pretty functional back, like pretty much until the very end, which is good. And it's important to make sure that you keep your family smiling and that you do go and spend time with them, because you don't want people like that being super isolated in a home or something like that. It's not a dignified life at that point. But I'm glad that you got to go and see your grandma and had to spend some really nice quality time with her, because I'm sure she appreciated that. She might not remember it, but she absolutely did appreciate it in the moment. Next one comes from confident_beautiful9. Great username, by the way. My sister, whose house it was at, had an edible before the food was even ready, and then retreated to her room due to her being too high, and started hinting for people to leave. Oh my God. What the heck? Why would you take an edible knowing that you have a large group of people coming over to that night? The whole point of doing something like that is that you set aside time where you're not doing anything, instead of setting aside time where you have to host a very large gathering. I can imagine that, how was she hinting? How was if she went and retreated to her room, how was she hinting? You should have just say, yeah, you guys can have Thanksgiving without me. That's your fault. You put that on yourself. You put yourself in this situation. That's on you, dog. How could she she's putting notes under her door or something, just stacking up just lots of paper saying please leave, please leave, please leave, just being having a total mental breakdown in there, just having to play a show, just being screaming for no apparent reason, or just the sound of puking, trying to get people to leave. Sorry guys, I'm not feeling really well. I'm just I'm not in the mood, but can somebody make me a plate of food and just put it outside my door? A really big plate too. That would be really, really appreciated. But yeah, I'm not feeling well. It's a headache, and I'm just feeling really I'm not I'm not with the vibe. I'm not at the vibe that you guys are at. So if you could just like, have a couple slices of pie and some turkey and potatoes and oh my god, pierogies and just whatever you want to put on that plate. Just leave that outside of my door and you guys can, we'll link up another time. We'll link up another time. Or as Americans would probably be, we'll link up at Christmas in like a month. Then we have a reply from Phoebe Jeebies. Give her a minute. She's fighting demons in there. This is the worst thing, too, about her taking an edible is the fact that, in case you don't know anything about edibles, and I'm not necessarily insinuating that I know everything about edibles, guys. I'm trying to keep my life somewhat private here and what I do and do not do in my personal and free time. But I guess it's legal in the country. We know things about things like this. And edibles tend to last hours and hours long. So Phoebe Jeeves, I'd say give her a couple hours. She's definitely fighting some demons. She is definitely coming to terms with a lot of things she definitely did not expect herself would be coming to terms. Confident Beautiful did reply though and say, we made sure they saved a plate for her and all of her favorite things, and they let her go to sleep for a bit. Just the lights off. That is so funny. I want to know how old your sister is. Like, is she just like 40? She's just like casually taking an edible before Thanksgiving at 40 years old. Next post comes from Teak Squad. Tooth infection that spread. Went to the dentist yesterday to get antibiotics, and it ballooned across my face overnight. So here I am, sitting in ER triage with a 101.3 degree fever and a face that hurts like hell. Which VV and Sandwich says, I had a tooth infection that took my front tooth this year. The loss of the tooth and subsequent surgeries ruined my Thanksgiving. It stemmed from an accident as a kid. I am so sorry you're going through this, and I can level. I'm sending you love, sweet person. I'm sorry you have to endure this as well. Tooth infection. That's like the worst too, man, because you like the whole point of Thanksgiving is literally eating. Like it's not even I would say that family, that like connecting with your family is like on the back burner. Like not everyone. Fuck it, I'll host a Thanksgiving for myself. You know what I mean? I'll cook a turkey up by myself. It just gives me an excuse to eat a lot of food. But like, yeah, the whole point there is like to eat, man. And now you've got a tooth infection, which I've never had a tooth infection before, but that sounds horrible. It sounds like you have to be drinking through like a straw or eating only like what is it? Just not eating solid foods, just chewing gum. Just like, oh, lovely. It's like the gum from Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where it's like the Thanksgiving roast beast. Now it's too close to Christmas to get in the Grinch on my mind, but it's like the roast beef turkey flavored gum or whatever it was. Just chew on that. Just chew some of the turkey flavored gum or something at the back of your mouth. Just let that let the gravy flavored gum just like coat your throat. Gravy flavor. All right, anyways. So the next one comes from Ms. Red, sorry. My husband and I were in a pretty bad car accident Monday afternoon. He ended up with a bad concussion and staples in the side of his head. I have a total of 13 stitches in my right hand and wrist, not to mention all the bruising, whiplash, and everything else that comes with being rear-ended while at a dead stop by someone most likely doing 45 plus. I'm assuming this is miles an hour. We're lucky to be alive. That's 45 plus. Because going 45 kilometers an hour, like that's still pretty decent. I don't know if it's enough to give you. It's definitely enough to give you a concussion, but if you're going 45 miles an hour, Jesus, that's like 70 kilometers an hour. That's crazy. It's 70, 80 kilometers an hour. What the hell? Jesus Christ. We're lucky to be alive. We were first uh, we were the first car hit and somehow got pushed into the median. Oh, geez. Well, the car that hit us kept going and ended up hitting the car that was in front of us. There ended up being a total of 5 cars involved. In the whole ordeal. We were supposed to go to my in-laws today, but his concussion has made it difficult for him to eat. Oh my lord, or even sit in a lit room. So we ended up staying home. It sucks, but I'm thankful to be alive, and there's always next year. Yeah, I hope. Oh, geez, it's tough that it's hard to eat for you guys. That sounds so crazy. I always wonder, like, what was going on with that driver? Just negligence? Like, how do you run into 5 cars? Like, if I was in that accident or if I was in that collision, I would definitely be expecting an explanation from the driver of that vehicle. But like, that is a pretty gnarly car accident. And I'm not sure where you're living too, but sometimes I know some of the worst car accidents that I've ever heard about, or have known people who have had them, have been due to less than ideal weather conditions. Keep in mind, it's that time of the year, folks. Things are cold now. For a lot of places, you're going to start seeing snow soon. Some places have already seen a lot of snow, a lot of ice. Please be careful when you're driving, and remember to adjust your driving habits due to the conditions outside. It's not summer anymore, folks. Black ice exists, and once it has a hold of you, it is just Jesus, Lord, please, Buddha, anyone, take the wheel. Take the wheel, please. It's out of your hands at that point. So please make sure that you're doing the right thing. But I was like, God damn it, you can't even order some KFC or anything, as your husband can't eat. Ugh. And like, yeah, like you obviously don't want to, make a whole bunch of food, but that is really tough. I'm sorry that ruined your Thanksgiving. I do think that a car accident, a fairly bad car accident would probably ruin my Thanksgiving as well. Careless Opinions has the next one and says, it wasn't ruined, but very boring. It was a dinner at my wife's cousin's along with a couple of other distant relatives, all people over 65. I ended up eating too much and had fun playing with the dog. Also, I was the only one who got stoned before going. I'm 75. Who's what kind of Thanksgiving do you expect? This sounds like the most normal Thanksgiving ever. And you're 75. What other Thanksgiving are you looking forward to going to? Is this like, yeah, I was supposed to be in Qatar watching the FIFA World Cup, but I had to settle for being with my family. Like, what the heck? I guess if it's your wife, if it's your wife's family, but you said a couple of other distant relatives. I wonder if it's your wife's. But even still, make the best of it. Like, what the heck? I'm begging to know what you're expecting from Thanksgiving. Like, what the hell? I thought somebody said there was gonna be Coke. What the fuck? Well, this is the worst Thanksgiving ever. No gambling? What the hell? Come on. It's like expecting the biggest vices in the world. It's like, what? No strippers? Oh my God, this Thanksgiving's ruined. Babe, why didn't you tell me? Guess I'm just gonna go to the strip club myself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't exactly know what kind of Thanksgiving you're expecting here. This sounds like a very normal Thanksgiving for somebody at your age. And you're like calling people over 65 boring. Like at 75, like, are you that interesting? Like, what are you doing? Like, I beg to know what you're doing. That's much more interesting than the people who are 10 years younger than you doing. But who knows? Maybe you're like a ex-rock and roll guitarist or something like this, and you're like just begging to go to a bar and play a crazy show for people on Thanksgiving. Killer Jukebox Hero replies and says, last sentence threw me. I was picturing someone in their 30s or 40s being bored hanging out with people over 65 and instead playing with the dog. There's a reply next from Just a Herp Derp. I'm considering taking some edibles, but I don't want my inner thoughts to become my outer thoughts. With the amount of flat earth and other conspiracy topics they believe in, it would be way too easy to say something I can't take back, yet fully agree with. I would probably recommend against doing that based on the experiences of everybody else on this subreddit and this thread who has said that taking edibles has not been the most fun experience for these folks. So I'm just going to go ahead and recommend that at the next holiday gathering, potentially Christmas, because I know that is the one that's coming up here, you probably maybe don't need to take edibles. I think why don't we just stay sober? Why don't we just let this be a sober event, okay? I think Thanksgiving is more supposed to be about spending time with the family instead of staring at the ceiling and drooling all over the place and eating all the food. But based on the experiences of a lot of our other commenters, I don't think that would be the best option. And it's just like you're I cannot imagine you're just sitting at the table and like your uncle or something is talking conspiracy theories or something, and they're like, they're all crazy sex cultists. They all want us murdered. The water is turning us gay. The water is turning the frogs gay. And you're just sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I had water all this week. I had water every day. Am I gonna be gay? Just freaking the hell out. The chemtrails. They're subduing you. They're meant to. They're gonna brainwash you. Oh my God. I saw 5 planes today. Oh my God. And then you wake up and you realize, like, how did I ever let myself be convinced by this? Yeah, with the amount of crazy and wacky characters that you see your Thanksgiving, I would highly recommend against doing that. Like, maybe it might be entertaining though, if you're watching somebody argue, like you're watching your family members argue. You can just be like, oh, but you don't want the tension to get to you. Otherwise, you know, you're probably not going to be having the most high flying night. You know, your vibes are probably going to be pretty low. So next comment here comes from Zesty Close Ant 2496. Girlfriend broke up with me last night, so I've been spending the entire Thanksgiving trying to act like it doesn't bother me. That's a tough one. That is definitely a tough one. Just gnawing on a turkey leg, just so close to crying, just so close to breaking down. She was all I ever wanted. Why? Just stuffing your face full of potatoes, just mashed potatoes. Oh, everything. Why? It's like the shiny turkey, and it's like, we used to use massage oil on each other. Everything reminds me of her. Just crying your absolute guts out. I'm sorry, bro, that your girlfriend broke up with you before Thanksgiving. But in a sense, though, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, because, like, I don't know if you spend Thanksgiving with your family, but at least you get to go and hang out with your family. You're not just gonna be alone sulking. You know what I mean? Just listening to Cigarettes After Sex. Just know that you really don't need to be in love to make love to me. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. Yeah. At least you get to go and hang out with your family. So maybe there is a little bit of a bright side to this. I'm Mr. Brightside. Princess Smarty Pants replies and says, listen to a radio show yesterday, and apparently the turkey drop is a thing. Lots of people get broken up with around this time. That is my awkward way of days. What the hell? That is my awkward way of days. That is like, this person, I did not phrase this properly. I'm sorry your holiday sucks. Hope you get better soon. And there's this Eat Sleep Jeep replies and says, particularly among college freshmen. I wonder why. I guess maybe for college freshmen, it's just before you're about to go home. Like you're just about to go back home for Christmas, and you're gonna be home fairly soon. So I could see that, but I don't know. I'm also like, it's I find this to be fascinating too, because to a certain extent, it's like I love how patterns like this emerge. I don't know if there's like really any meaning to it or anything like that. Like I'm not sure if as people we can assign meaning to this sort of stuff, but it's so funny when random patterns like this emerge. Like, oh, there's just a trend of people getting broken up over Thanksgiving. It's like, I wonder if it has anything to do with like humans, in the sort of procession of the times of the year. But this seems so counterintuitive to me, because I would think that people would want a partner for the cold winter months, somebody that you can, cuddle up next to for that time. It doesn't seem very intuitive that you would break up with your significant other just before the real cold starts to happen, and everybody, everyone's freezing and everyone's looking for a partner. Isn't that, it's cuffing season right now? I mean, I guess maybe it's cuffing. I feel like cuffing season was like September and October. And then like November is kind of cuffing season, but that's cuffing season before you go into December, January, February, March, cold ass months, lots of snow. Just not the nicest months, not the most pleasant time of the year. In terms of weather, especially, and I can vouch for this, being Canadian, because there's almost nowhere in Canada that you can go and have a decently mild winter. The only places that exist like that are Vancouver, where it's constantly raining, and Halifax, I guess, where I'm here right now because it's on the coast. But there still is a lot of snow, and it does get fairly cold. So, the United States, you guys have it nice, though. There's a lot of places in the States where it doesn't even snow during the entire year. It's like, come on, bro. Oh, that shit frustrates me. I'm like, you guys you couldn't let us extend our borders just a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter, because they'd have to be quite a bit lower in order to really have any place in this country that's going to be. We had the option to buy Turks and Caicos. You guys know that, hey? Canada had the option to buy Turks and Caicos as an extra province, and we said no. Why would you do that? That's a beautiful tourist destination. Why the heck, man? Oh, that I'll never let the government of this country ever live that down. Could you imagine? Oh, we're gonna go spend Christmas or Thanksgiving in Turks and Caicos. That sounds lit. Sounds like something out of a Drake song, Thanksgiving and Turks. You say that you're a lesbian girl, me too. But yeah, it's interesting. I love that. I don't love the fact that you got your girlfriend broke up with you, but it is interesting how that sort of thing drops. But that sort of thing drops. That sort of thing happens. The patterns sort of emerge. But I'm sorry to hear that. So let's move on here. BM Gamer 36 says, big dinner: turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cornbread. Oh, we don't do cornbread. We just do bread rolls. But geez, I might have to convince my mom for Christmas to make cornbread for Christmas dinner. That sounds good. That sounds really good. A colleague's daughter said she has a stomach ache, and doesn't feel well. This story, we can already all see where this is going, folks. Gut feeling is making me suspicious. We sit down, she gets up, and proceeds to vomit all over the floor. I love when people use the word vomit. Vomit is such a violent word. It's different than puke. It's different than throw up. Vomit. It means, ugh. Like, it means like you are uncontrollably just letting it out. And it's like your stomach is being basically just inverted. Just being pushed inside out. Thankfully, she missed the table, just all on the floor. Poor kid had a stomach virus she didn't know about. She didn't eat much after that. We spent 10 minutes cleaning it up. Ugh. Sadly, nobody wanted to have the stuffing after that. I was sad because it was amazing. Yeah, and the worst part about this, is that the smell is gonna ruin it for you. Like, that's gonna be one of those like Pavlovian, like, association things now, where you're gonna just like smell next month at Christmas, you're gonna smell. I said that really loud. Month next month at Christmas, you're gonna smell all the turkey and all the beautiful and amazing, wonderful food that's being prepared for you, and then all you're gonna be able to think about is the girl a month ago who puked or as you said, vomited all over the place. Damn, that would be such a bummer. The smell would be so awful, bro. Oh my God. Because it's a mixture of like stomach acid and bodily fluids mixed with, and like bile mixed with Thanksgiving dinner. Like, oh my God, that's just I can't imagine. That's gotta be one of the worst smells ever. Oh my Lord. So next one we've got from Disciple of Murphy. A bunch of people who wouldn't get out of my damn kitchen because I'm a guy. All the old women think I can't do anything. Well, Meemaw, we still have got 3 pounds of your dry-ass potatoes, but nothing I made has leftovers. Let's go, Disciple of Murphy. Let's fucking go. Like, roast your freaking grandma. Or was that your grandma? Yeah, your Meemaw. Shut up, Meemaw. No one ate your stupid dry-ass potatoes, Meemaw. Like, what the heck? Peepaw even said that my dinner was better. Like, go even ask Peepaw. He said that. So, joke's on you. I can't imagine how frustrating that would be. My mom, like, whenever she's making something, she always just, she gets so pissed off because me and my sister just like, this used to happen when we both lived at home and more so years ago, but this still happens every once in a while. And we do it to just kind of spite her now, but we just hover around her in the kitchen. She calls us hovering. And we'll just be there to just be there. Like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, well, do you not see what I'm doing? I told you I was going to make banana bread today, and I'm in the process of making like 4 loaves of banana bread. And that's exactly what I said I was going to do today. And, that's what I'm doing. And to be frank, you're in my way. So please leave. Yeah, it's got to be even worse when everyone's probably telling you're doing that. They're probably telling you you're doing it wrong. Like, I would never say to my mom, like, really? Sorry, Mom, but I definitely wouldn't have done that. You can do it. You can do it. I won't critique. But just between us, you're doing it wrong. No, I would never say that. But I can imagine that that's probably something that was said to you, which I would find extremely profusely annoying. User Kim Jong K 80 says, I wonder if this is the real Kim Jong. I asked for the address and never got a response. Responds 4 hours later, okay, well, we already ate and everyone left, so just stay home and eat there. Go on IG and see the family pics. Thanks, Dad. That's nice. Yeah, that's a cold Thanksgiving, bro. That is a whoo. I feel for you, dog. At this point, man, there's no point in going. You gotta see what friends are up to, bro. You gotta have a Friendsgiving. Start your own shit, man. That's a no. That's a no. You gotta draw the line. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do something more fun. Like hire like a private artist to come and like do a private show for you on Thanksgiving, or do something cool. Do something that all your family wants to go over to your place for, and then don't invite your dad so he's jealous. Cora Trash says, pedo family member showed up when they weren't invited. Yeah, I would say that definitely would put a bummer on things. You know, I definitely think that would dampen the mood, you know, just a little bit, especially because Thanksgiving is a time when you get your family together, and there are often children present. So it reminds me of the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know if you guys have seen the show. Go watch it. It's super, super funny, but it's Larry David's show. He's the creator of Seinfeld, and he's got his own show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. But it's like it's like Passover or something, and he invites this like sex offender in the neighborhood, and then at the end of the episode, like a little girl's like choking, and they're like, "Oh, who knows mouth to mouth?" And everyone's like, "Oh no, I don't know it." And then the pedophile's like, "I know it." Like, yeah. What are you guys doing in that situation? Are you letting your child die? Are you letting a pedophile give your child mouth to mouth? What's the thing? What's the choice here? That is the devil's choice right there. No, bro. I would just be like, you're going to teach me how to do it, and I'm going to do it. You're not going to go anywhere near this child. But yeah, I definitely could see that being a rather bummer on the night. So I think, yeah, why don't we just wrap it up there for today, folks, because we're almost close to time here, and that is all that I've got left to say. I'm so excited and happy. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope for my American listeners that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you're able to spend that with family, and you had a wonderful time. And then you're gonna see them in a month, so it's not that long. So if you had a bad experience with your in-laws, or if you had a bad experience with your family members, just remember you're gonna see them a month from now. So Canadian Thanksgiving, definitely better timing. You get a little bit more of a break between having to see your crazy uncle and listening to family members argue about stupid, pointless things. Anyways, that's going to be the end of the show for me today here, folks. So thank you for listening to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get podcasts, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember, if you have something to say about the most recent episode, go and comment that under the most recent YouTube video on my YouTube channel at Reddit Asks Us, and I will read out your comment on the next episode of the podcast. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye, and I'll see you next week.